Tonight, new dire warnings about the growing Ebola outbreak and outrage over how Western countries like Canada are responding.
I think we have to ask ourselves, where is our humanity here?
Alarm at the rapid spread and why experts say it's likely even worse than it appears. Plus, with 1 month to go before a deadline to review the CUSMA trade deal, where do things stand?
I see no sign of it changing soon.
What needs to happen to change the tone with Washington? And Canada's men back on home soil.
With all these changes and everything, we really want to put in a strong performance, try to win.
Battling injuries and the rain in the countdown to FIFA.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hennemanzing.
Canada is bringing in new border measures as the Ebola outbreak centered in the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to grow. Officials say suspected cases in the region have topped 1,100. Health officials here have made it clear the risk to Canadians remains low, but they have imposed restrictions. Until the end of August, Canadian citizens and permanent residents arriving from an Ebola-affected region must quarantine for 21 days. And this comes on top of Ottawa's move to ban residents of the DRC, Uganda, and South Sudan from entering Canada for 90 days. Congolese officials say in that country, 42 people have died, and the number of confirmed cases is more than 280. Jennifer Yoon now with how armed conflict on the ground is affecting those on the front line of the outbreak.
Death rates look different during an Ebola outbreak, even for the smallest of victims. Right now, a rare type of Ebola is ravaging parts of Congo and Uganda, and healthcare workers are trying to keep up. This is how fast the virus is spreading this year, skyrocketing suspected cases even compared to previous outbreaks. Driving the spread, a region rife with armed conflict, displacing millions. The virus likely spreading for weeks before it was detected. Amid the death and grief, there's also misinformation and anger. Clashes over how Ebola victims are buried. Some protesters even setting fire to medical tents. The head of the World Health Organization flying in, trying to calm fears.
We're here to listen. Communities understand their own challenges and their own solutions. Our role is to support you.
But frontline workers, those who are most at risk, say they're missing the most basic equipment.
They don't even have a mask or gloves to be able to take care of somebody else who's sick. I think we have to ask ourselves, where is our humanity here?
There's no vaccine or treatment for this type of Ebola. That's why tracking and containment are so crucial right now, Vin says.
That has to be our priority. When the UN and the WHO are calling for urgent funding, medical supplies, protective equipment for healthcare workers, and operational support for local response teams, this is a cry for help that cannot be ignored.
What doesn't help, says this virologist, travel restrictions like Canada's temporary Ebola border measures in place ahead of the World Cup.
It doesn't actually meaningfully reduce risk, and it actually is just embarrassing. I think the only thing that this does is make wealthy people from other wealthier countries feel more comfortable coming to Canada for the World Cup.
Ebola spreads through direct contact with someone who's symptomatic, specifically with their bodily fluids. It doesn't spread through the air, and you can't get it by being casually near someone in a public, like at a soccer game, meaning those who are really most in danger are healthcare workers or caregivers.
And Jennifer, there's certainly echoes of the past in this outbreak. What have we learned since then?
Well, we've learned what's needed to curb outbreaks like this. Things like contact tracing and making sure samples aren't spoiled by the warm temperatures before they're tested. Those who have responded to these outbreaks in the past say they're feeling deja vu. Massive funding cuts to global aid programs means we're repeating some of the same mistakes we've made in the past, only this time we know better.
Jennifer Yoon in Toronto. Thank you. A possible review of the CUSMA trade deal is drawing closer, but Canada and the U.S. remain far apart on several key issues: fighter jets, digital taxes, liquor sales. The contentious points are piling up. Rafi Boudjikanian walks us through them.
With a possible CUSMA review just 1 month away, Mark Carney appeared to extend an olive branch to the U.S. in a speech to business elites.
Canada is far and away America's biggest customer, and an integrated North American market for production, Canada Strong, will help make America great again.
American Ambassador Pete Hoekstra noting a lot of Americans can get behind that kind of positive message, but with trade negotiations looming, many obstacles remain. Most Canadian provinces still won't let their liquor boards stock American alcohol, a retaliation for punishing U.S. tariffs on sectors like steel and aluminum.
I see no sign of it changing soon.
This former CBC journalist, now Manitoba's senior representative to the U.S., says the White House could escalate with more tariffs.
I was hearing that that was going to come out Memorial Day weekend, last weekend. It hasn't yet, but we're bracing for this.
The U.S. has named other Canadian policies as trade irritants as well, including supply management protections for sectors like dairy and a recently hiked levy on American streaming giants such as Netflix, forcing them to pay more into the creation of Canadian content. And the Pentagon says Canada must soon decide if it will buy more American F-35s to replace its aging fighter jets, as Ottawa mulls a Swedish alternative.
We have contractual commitments with Lockheed Martin. We'll make a decision on what the full picture looks like when we're ready to make it.
But some are optimistic about the future of the Canada-U.S. relationship.
There are just some certain fundamental drivers of the U.S.-Canada relationship that matter to us: our geography, our democracy, our shared need to build industrial and innovation strength.
Canada-U.S. Relations Minister Dominic LeBlanc has not been in D.C. since March. His office says his next trip is still being finalized.
And Rafi, remind us what happens if Canada, the U.S., and Mexico don't agree to a review of CUSMA by July 1st.
If there's no review, there's nothing kickstarting the next round of negotiations for a revised deal. So the existing agreement should remain in place, but uncertainty could linger for years. Ottawa already considers the tariffs imposed by the U.S. since Trump's return to the White House a trade violation. And while there are U.S.-Mexico formal talks, no date has been set for similar discussions with Canada.
Rafi Boudjikanian in Ottawa. A veteran of federal politics is now leading British Columbia's official opposition. Kerry-Lynne Findlay won the BC Conservative leadership this weekend. Some say she's bringing a polarizing voice to provincial politics. And as Mira Bain shows us, it could signal a major shift in BC's political landscape.
It's a win that could make or break the BC Conservative Party.
Faith, family, and freedom. That's what it's all about.
Kerry-Lynne Findlay is the provincial party's new leader, and she's championing a right-wing populist message. The veteran federal politician won narrowly on the fourth ballot, taking 51% of the vote, campaigning hard for resource development.
Our province will become strong. Good-paying jobs, modern infrastructure, resource wealth, and opportunity that has been blocked by the NDP.
A night of celebration transitioned Sunday into their first caucus meeting. Party unity, despite rumors of deep divisions.
Well, are you staying?
Findlay's polarizing brand of politics has already alienated some, including this MLA who was kicked out of caucus last fall.
Well, I don't see this as a big tent party any longer. This campaign was an ugly campaign, in my opinion.
This UBC political scientist points out if the BC Conservatives focus on the economy, they have a better chance in the next election.
I think she'll have a number of affinities with Danielle Smith in Alberta, and clearly Mark Carney is willing to work with anybody who is willing to work with him.
The Conservatives' popularity surged in the last election after then-leader John Rustad forged an alliance with centre-right party BC United, formerly the BC Liberals. Now some inside the governing BC NDP are taking aim at Findlay.
With this outcome, I think we've really seen the pro-Trump extreme right wing of the party firmly take control of the Conservative Party of British Columbia.
Still, Findlay is facing hurdles, holding together a divided caucus, finding an MLA to step aside, and winning that seat so she can have a voice in the legislature. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
Israeli troops are now further into Lebanon than they've been in decades after seizing a castle that dates back 900 years. The Israeli flag now flies above Beaufort Castle, a relic of the Crusades. The capture marks a major advance in Israel's war against Hezbollah, which continues despite a ceasefire agreement. Today, the French foreign minister called Israel's push into Lebanon unacceptable. The U.S. is gearing up to mark its 250th birthday this summer, but one high-profile celebration is already getting caught up in politics. Several musicians have pulled out of a Trump-backed concert series tied to the milestone. Aaron Collins now with the fallout.
The south lawn of the White House, a construction zone. The stage being set for an MMA fight here next month, part of celebrations to mark America's 250th anniversary. This main event to be held on the U.S. president's birthday.
In my campaign for president, I pledged to give America the most spectacular birthday party the world has ever seen for America's 250th anniversary.
A series of concerts featuring stars of the 80s and 90s, also part of those celebrations.
Let's kick it!
Ice, ice, baby. Rapper Vanilla Ice on the bill.
Proud to be an American and proud and honored for this event. So get in where you fit in and we'll see you there.
But this week, a snag. Some other artists bailing.
Every rose has its thorn.
The thorny nature of American politics putting off Poison's frontman. Bret Michaels writing that the event had become more divisive than what he had signed up for.
This here's a jam for all the fellas.
Rapper Young MC not wanting to be involved either, opting to move his name off the bill over concerns it was too political. Donald Trump firing back online, writing that we should have a giant Make America Great Again rally for 250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear. The president offering himself up as a headliner, writing online that he gets larger audiences than Elvis in his prime. Members of the president's cabinet accusing the musicians of politicizing the party.
Some musicians want to play music for everybody, and some musicians seem to have segmented their audiences the same way politicians have.
In all, at least 5 artists have backed out of the concert series. Whether the president will cancel the shows or headline them is still up in the air. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Washington.
Tens of thousands of Parisians gathered at the foot of the Eiffel Tower to celebrate their championship-winning soccer team this evening. It was a loud and rowdy heroes welcome for Paris Saint-Germain players one day after they beat Arsenal to win their second consecutive Champions League trophy. Security was tight, though, after overnight celebrations turned ugly. This was the scene shortly after Saturday's win. Violent clashes in Paris and other French cities injured more than 50 police officers as football fans set fires and vandalized shops. Authorities say at least 780 people were arrested. Less than 2 weeks from the start of the World Cup, FIFA fever is building. We'll get our first look at Canada's men's soccer team in action tomorrow night when they play a tune-up friendly against Uzbekistan. Emily Fitzpatrick caught up with the squad as they hit the practice pitch at Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium.
What a difference a couple of days make. For Canada's World Cup soccer team, fresh off a week-long training camp in the North Carolina sun, the newly named 26-player roster hit the pitch in the cool, rainy weather of Edmonton. Missing from today's practice, captain and hometown hero Alphonso Davies. Davies won't be playing on Monday as he nurses a hamstring injury, but will reunite with his team before the friendly match against Uzbekistan. Davies' co-captain is eager to welcome him back.
I just can't wait for him to be ready to help us push this tournament because we really need him. I think he's one of the players in our team. There's not many, but there's a couple that really can make us go far in this tournament.
This team is facing more than just poor weather conditions. Along with Davies, several players have dealt with injuries leading up to the World Cup. Just last night, midfielder Marcelo Flores ruptured his ACL, ending his World Cup run.
Our hearts are with him. He's in good spirits. He's already focused on, moving forward and getting himself healthy for the future.
Injuries aside, Monday's match will play out on newly installed grass turf in front of a packed crowd.
I think our goal right now is to just make the people from Edmonton really happy that we're here. And as I said, with all these changes and everything, we really want to put in a strong performance, you know, try to win and make the people from Edmonton proud.
It's been 4.5 years since Canada's men's team played in Edmonton. The last time they beat Mexico in the snow to qualify for the 2022 World Cup. And the memories here are a big reason they're back.
I ask that everybody just comes out and loves this team, and even in the rain, there was a sellout in the snow, right? So hopefully we get full stadium again and everybody's excited.
The weather forecast is calling for more of this for Monday night's game. After that, the team is off to Montreal for one more friendly match as they prepare for the start of the FIFA World Cup in Toronto on June 12th. Emily Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Edmonton.
The family of former NHL player Claude Lemieux says it will donate his brain for research. Alexander Silberman shows us how Lemieux's death by suicide has thrown a spotlight on the risks faced by pro athletes, not just from the physical blows, but also the mental stress.
Claude Lemieux, basking in the glory he earned as a revered and tenacious hockey star, only 4 days later, found dead by suicide at age 60.
The whole nation is probably conversing about this.
Lemieux's death leaves the hockey community saddened and stunned, and is sparking reflection on the hidden struggles many athletes may face.
Even though things are better, there is still quite a bit of stigma, and nobody wants to get judged.
Lemieux's death is also restarting conversations about the physical toll of the sport. The fierce competitor was known for his aggressive, hard-hitting style. Lemieux's family is now donating his brain to a research center at Boston University, where it will be studied for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. The brain disease is caused by repeated blows to the head and can only be diagnosed after death. Symptoms include memory loss and depression.
It's a rather tragic condition.
Experts say hockey leagues need to take action to reduce concussions, like finding ways to decrease hits to the head.
Prevention has to be practiced more diligently in this national game.
In a statement, Lemieux's family stressed that no conclusions should be made at this time. This decision is a gift to science, to athletes, and to future generations of families seeking answers, they wrote. The donation comes in the wake of a notable diagnosis. Former Bruins enforcer Lyndon Byers, who died last July at 61, was found to have had advanced CTE. The hockey world urging better support for athletes during and after their careers, and calling for players to speak up. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Montreal.
If you or anyone else needs support, there is help. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide Crisis Helpline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And later in the hour, former professional hockey player Bob Wilkie opens up about his own struggles and why mental health conversations in sports are sometimes difficult.
And I think in sports, we're taught so much to be tough and we have to fight through things. This is a reminder that when we are struggling mentally, we don't have to tough that one out.
More on that and his advice for other players who may be struggling in about 20 minutes. After more than a week underground, 4 more men have been rescued from a flooded cave in Laos. An emotional moment, the men managing to walk out exhausted but alive. The operation involved divers and rescue specialists from several countries navigating flooded tunnels with little room for error. In total, 5 people have been brought to safety. 2 more are still missing. More young Canadians are laying the foundation for a career in the trades.
Here I am in the trades now, doing cabinet making, and I love it.
Why nailing down a job could be harder than expected. Next. Plus, CBC News visits a crew planting trees in northern Manitoba.
We're back here giving life back to these dead areas.
But can they keep up with intensifying wildfire seasons? And firefighters come to a dog's rescue in Nova Scotia.
It's nice to have a good win for a change. We felt warm and fuzzy basically after all was said and done.
We're back in 2.
Her body of work alone has earned her legendary status in the entertainment industry, but it was who she was as a person that endeared her to millions.
A heartfelt tribute tonight for Catherine O'Hara by her longtime collaborator and friend Eugene Levy at the Canadian Screen Awards. Levy praised O'Hara for her incredible character work in everything from Home Alone to Schitt's Creek. O'Hara's decades-long career spanned sketch comedy, film, and television. She died in January at the age of 71. As more young Canadians consider the skilled trades as a career path, there are calls to make sure employers do their part. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson takes us to a national competition where outstanding students get to show off what they're learning.
They call it the Olympics of Skilled Trades. Skills Canada is a national competition for young Canadians passionate about trades like welding, carpentry, and in the case of 17-year-old Peyton Miller-Plante, auto painting. She's already won a number of regional competitions.
It is a great time to become part of the skilled trades. I would say for painting specifically, if you're artistic and you want to be creative, but also like the labor side of things where you're working with your hands all the time.
She's part of a growing trend of young people opting for skilled trades. According to Statistics Canada, in 2024, 5.9% more people registered for apprenticeships than the year before. But getting to that important step and completing it remains difficult.
We need more people in skilled trades, and that's what we hear everywhere. And then on the other hand, we have employers that are still a bit reticent to hire that new level 1 apprentice.
It's a problem the federal government says it's aware of.
We need to make it easier for people to go into the trades, young women and men to go into the trades.
In the new spring economic update, Ottawa earmarked $6 billion to hire 100,000 new skilled trade workers, which includes providing incentives for companies to take on new apprentices.
What you see here is excellence at work.
This head of training for a major union says it's a great start.
Our ask of the federal government was checks and balances need to be in place. Having a national database for tradespeople, number one. Number two, checks and balances for entities that receive funding to deliver pre-entry pathways. Let's keep them accountable.
But challenges aside, these teens feel like they've already won the lottery.
Going into high school, I was like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer. But here I am in the trades now, doing cabinet making, and I love it.
Finding work that may lead to a career, one they also enjoy. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
A team in northern Manitoba is bringing new life to areas destroyed by wildfires.
Every tree that goes into the ground is like a gift back to Mother Earth.
But the federal government's shifting climate policy could uproot their plans. And following NHL star Claude Lemieux's death by suicide, I speak with former professional hockey player Bob Wilkie about mental health in the game.
When we have that love and support, it's important that we're leaning on it, and that's really what saved me.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. As Canada enters what's expected to be another above-average wildfire season, their fears we're not doing enough to repair the forest damage. Karen Pauls traveled to Manitoba's Interlake region, where an Indigenous tree planting crew is digging in to help restore what's been lost.
Marley Moose has spent the last 3 summers in Manitoba's Interlake region, about 300 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg, planting trees in the traditional land of her First Nation.
Everywhere around me is burnt, but it's where life used to be. So we're back here giving life back to these dead areas.
An out-of-control wildfire ravaged the area in 2021.
Every tree that goes into the ground is like a gift back to Mother Earth.
Farron Sharp is working with a group of 7 Swampy Cree First Nations to help plant 20 million trees by 2030. But last fall, Ottawa canceled the 2 billion trees program, part of the federal government budget aimed at cutting spending and instead investing in defense and infrastructure. Existing contracts are expected to fill just half the original goal. This summer is expected to be one of the hottest on record. Forests are already burning, but despite efforts like this, we're not planting fast enough to replace them. Industry groups say we'd need more than 7 billion seedlings to replace just 15% of the forest destroyed by wildfires since 2023.
We started to see repetitive wildfires, so seed sources were lost, and people were starting to realize that some of these mega fires are preventing natural regeneration.
More than 100 tree planters live in this camp. Elder Andy Daniels is teaching them Indigenous traditions.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that you're planting something for regrowth.
He says the forest is more than the sum of its tree trunks.
It's supply us with our food, our shelter, our clothing. That's the importance of the survival of our people.
There's a lot at stake. Karen Pauls, CBC News near Devil's Lake, Manitoba.
In the breakdown tonight, the conversation sparked by the death of Claude Lemieux and homegrown education in Canada's Arctic.
It'll be located right here.
Canada's first Inuit-led university in the Arctic, its mission shaping future scholars in Inuit values and traditions.
You want your students to have a grounding in the place that they call home.
But first, NHL legend Claude Lemieux, days after carrying the ceremonial torch at a Montreal Canadiens game, dies by suicide.
He was one of the greatest competitors of the NHL.
The four-time Stanley Cup winner's death is reigniting difficult conversations around mental health and hockey. To help us better understand the challenges on and off the ice, we've reached out to former professional hockey player Bob Wilkie. Over the course of his career, the Calgary native played in more than 250 games in the American Hockey League and briefly in the NHL, before transforming his struggles into advocacy for mental health supports. Bob Wilkie joins us now from Calgary. What were your first thoughts when you heard that Claude Lemieux had taken his life?
It was a shock, Ian, especially after seeing him on TV during the playoffs. To all of a sudden have that news hit was a real shock. And I think it is anytime you hear a story like this, it doesn't matter. But people like that, Claude was so accomplished, so successful, such an impact in so many different ways. It just hits the heart. It's very sad to think about all the lives that are going to struggle with his loss.
You've spoken publicly about your mental health struggles when you were a player. What would you like our viewers to know about that?
Well, I think it's evident, Ian, that it's a real thing. And what we talk about a lot in our education around is just the ignorance. When somebody is struggling, we have to have that ability to talk to someone within our community, whether it's a parent, a coach, a teammate, to open up. And I think in sports, we're taught so much to be tough and we have to fight through things. It's just so important that, all of us, this is a reminder that when we are struggling mentally, we don't have to tough that one out.
You mentioned that scene when Claude Lemieux carried the torch into Bell Centre ahead of their playoff game against Carolina. Last Monday, to the frenzy of the crowd, and, he pumped his fist. And what do you say to people who are struggling to understand how he could go from seeming so excited in Montreal to taking his life 3 days later?
As someone who, struggled with those suicidal thoughts and ideas, it's just really hard for people to understand how you get there and to be celebrated like he was. What would be so wrong? I don't know that anybody's ever going to make sense of it. And until you've experienced it personally, it's really hard to describe. I'm willing to bet that this was a long fight for Claude, managing these thoughts, trying to figure out a way forward. It's not something that all of a sudden hits you. It tends to be a long, drawn-out process. And, those public appearances, I think can be helpful at times. They can also be hurtful at times. I know there's been times in my life when people have, celebrated my accomplishments when I was at one of my low points. And it really created even more doubt in my mind as to, who I was and why I was here. So I don't think it's something that we can ever make sense of, Ian. It's just something that we have to make sure that we're trying to be more aware of in the future.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because I hear so many people, it's kind of like if somebody, gets lung cancer and then, well, were they a smoker? Yeah, they were a smoker. Okay, good. I understand it. And sometimes they're not a smoker. And the same thing with suicide. It's kind of like I find people searching for a clear cause and effect. And as you point out, it often is more complicated than that. I'm sorry you went through this, and especially at a time when it wasn't easy to be public about it and seek help. Did you get help?
Yeah, I did. It was a very tough time to acknowledge the fact that something was wrong. For so many years, just hoped it would go away. And I think a lot of people experiencing that, hoping that tomorrow's a better day, and then it's not. So it gets a little bit harder to move forward. And, it was having those conversations. It was opening up to certain people about certain things. I couldn't definitely unload everything that was going on in my mind or what I was thinking and feeling. But slowly with little tidbits, and then feeling that support, that I wasn't scaring people, that I wasn't burdening people, I think was a big step forward for me. So it's really important, if you are struggling out there, to share and be open with those around you, knowing that you're not going to be a burden. When we have that love and support, it's important that we're leaning on it, and that's really what saved me.
Yeah, such a great message. Now you started an organization, I Got Mind, that aims to change workplace culture. But you've also worked with young athletes to break the stigma around mental health. Are things changing?
I would say a little bit. What we see in the work that we do, Ian, is that the kids are definitely more open to it. I think that within their culture, it is more open. It's more willing. I can say that I'm struggling with things. It's when we have to talk with the adults, when the coaches, the parents, it still gets downplayed a lot. Some of the members of our team who have recently retired from sports are saying that it's still a stigma within the locker room. So that uncertainty of we're going to be judged, we're going to be condemned, talked about, it's a real thing that people struggle with. And we have to remember that too. If somebody's going to open up and bear a little bit of their soul, that, they're trusting us to keep that in confidence and to not use that. And I think, when we can do a combination of things is when we can create an environment where we can really get past these things together, get through them together, learn from them together, and hopefully get better from them together.
For somebody like you, former professional hockey player, to speak so openly about what you've gone through and what other people need, I think makes a big difference. Bob Wilkie, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Ian.
And once again, if you or anyone else needs support, there is help. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide Crisis Helpline. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coming up, an Inuit solution for higher education that keeps students closer to home and grounded in tradition.
Our fellow Inuit will have that option, they'll have that opportunity.
Why an Inuit-led university in the north might be a game changer. Next. The first ever Inuit-led university in Canada's north might soon be a reality.
It has been largely a one-way street of us having to conform to Southern-based education standards.
Now they'll get their own curriculum tailored to its language and culture. Juanita Taylor explains the unique opportunity for students and why it matters.
On the western coast of Hudson Bay, you'll find Arvert, Nunavut's southernmost community, located about 200 kilometers north of Churchill, Manitoba. It's home to about 3,200 people, but in 4 years' time, this hamlet is going to get a lot bigger. I am standing on the future site of Inuit-Nunagat University, next to the frozen shore of the Hudson Bay. Once built, this will be the first university in Canada's Arctic led by Inuit. A game changer for Inuit who have had no choice but to leave their communities to attend university.
I miss being around Inuit. I miss being around our people.
I just don't want to leave home.
For a majority of students, it's a big deal to think about traveling outside of our home community to go to school for post-secondary. Knowing that you don't have to do that, that is a new way to inspire children to go to school.
We've come to learn more about what makes this university so different.
This is going to be an Inuit university that is founded in Inuit society and culture.
Natan Obed is the president of Inuit-led Arctic, Canada's national Inuit organization. ITK has been calling for Inuit-led University for decades.
Inuit have not had the same opportunity to have equity within this country. And from education, it has been largely a one-way street of us having to conform to Southern-based education standards.
The foundation of this university is based on Inuit perspectives. Its courses are designed by Inuit, such as degrees in Arctic sovereignty, Inuktitut, and Inuit midwifery. For, say, the Southern Canadians who are still wondering why Canada should care about this, what would you tell them?
We're trying to take back the centrality of our society. And I think that should resonate with all Canadians, that you want your students to have a grounding in the place that they call home. And we just want the same for ourselves.
About 70,000 Inuit live in the 4 regions that make up Inuit-Nunagat, the homeland of Inuit in Canada. In 4 short years, they'll have the option to come here to Arctic and get a university degree. So this is the site, Joe, where the university is going to be built.
It'll be located right here.
Mayor Joe Savigadak Jr. lobbied hard for Arctic to win the bid to host the university's main campus.
Everyone's looking forward to the day that the doors open here in Arctic and hoping that people will get jobs and benefit from having high population of influx here in Arctic.
Growing by 500 people, from students and their families to university staff. Are you worried about that change?
There might be some serious changes that we have to adapt to, except the fact that we're going to grow so much in so little time.
Community members have questions about the changes ahead at this information session. With 500 more people, Inuit-like Joy Suluk believes the university could fundamentally change the nature of the community.
Our relationship with our neighbors, our fellow Inuit, is going to be watered down with more people coming in. If we don't prepare ourselves, I think we're going to end up like big cities, being isolated from everybody. That's what I'm afraid of.
While ITK and Arctic start preparing, Inuit Leslie Fredland is finishing up her 4th year at NSCAD University in Halifax, a far distance from her home in Rankin-Inlet-Nunavut.
I've always been interested in the arts. I just had this yearning to learn more.
To do that, she had to relocate over 2,700 kilometers with her children, but it hasn't always been easy.
I've experienced racism and microaggressions in relation to some of the art I was creating.
Those frustrations and missing her people had her on the brink of quitting.
Why did I move us? All this time and all this energy, I did feel like quitting. I just wanted to quit. I just wanted to up and leave. To feel that so close to the end.
That's when she heard about Arctic's announcement.
It was so powerful. Our fellow Inuit will have that option. They'll have that opportunity.
Back in Arctic, Kukik Baker is busy with work and family.
You made a racetrack?
Before settling down, she took 1 year of social sciences at the University of Winnipeg after graduating high school and never went back.
I went from
class of 11 students with lots of support to just me and my husband living in Winnipeg. No other Inuit at the university that I knew of. Like a big culture shock.
Now Baker runs programs in Arveit based on Inuit culture. A university built on those same values excites her.
If we had Inuit-led University when I graduated, I most definitely would have applied.
She's excited her boys will have the option of going to university right here at home. At John Angnalujok High School, culture and learning go together. Chichi Arinze is the principal.
Culture is the #1 factor that runs this school.
She's seen the struggle some students have when they graduate.
Even for our students who have graduated high school, not all of them are able to make the next step to go to a post-secondary institution. And for even those who go, they don't all complete their program.
Nearly 34% of Inuit completed a post-secondary certificate, degree, or diploma in 2021, according to Statistics Canada. For non-Indigenous Canadians, the rate was nearly double at 68%. Arinze says Inuit-led University could make all the difference.
Has it been like a buzz around the school since Arveit was selected?
They are excited. I think it's going to continue to be a motivation to come to school.
Waiter, cleaning, helping with.
These students have mixed feelings about attending university in their hometown, like Aislinn Kuksuk.
I don't think of going to the university here. I always thought of going down south. Traveling, I love traveling, so I would want to try become a pilot.
Logan Manek's graduating this year. This fall, he'll be heading to Saskatchewan Polytechnic. He says he's ready, but he's happy for Inuit who won't have to go south.
It's the first university, obviously, in Inuit land, and it's going to be a lot easier for people who haven't been to the south to go attend school and be more comfortable.
For grade 9 students like Samuel Curley, there's no question.
Doing university here and just go hunting, fishing, do the things I love. If I graduate the university, I'll be one of the first guys to be in one of the pictures.
For Arveit, that's worth celebrating. A new era of education in the Arctic led by Inuit, scheduled to welcome its first cohort of students in 2030.
About 1,800 truckloads of gravel will be hauled to the site this summer, setting the foundation for Inuit-led University. As to when construction will begin, well, that will be determined by Inuit Tapari Kinatami at a later date.
And Juanita, there's one more hurdle it has to overcome.
That's right, Ian, and that is getting buy-in from the federal government to develop legislation that would govern Inuit-led University. Now, normally provinces and territories would have degree-granting powers, but ITK says because this is a multi-jurisdictional institution spanning 2 territories and 2 provinces, well, federal partnership is essential.
Spectacular shot there. Juanita Taylor in Rankin Inlet, Nunavut tonight. Coming up, a tense rescue of a service dog stuck in a burning building in Nova Scotia.
To see that much fire involved at once, it was a serious moment for sure.
How firefighters got the dog to safety next in our moment. You're looking at Randy, a service dog from North Sydney, Nova Scotia. He got stuck on the 3rd floor of a house that caught fire. Thankfully, he managed to get the firefighters' attention, so tonight, the daring rescue, it's our moment.
Oh my God, stay inside, bye.
The dog made himself aware to us. He was right at the edge of the roof. He pucked his way through the outside wall and stuck his head out through the outside wall. A couple of people that were in the vicinity saw him. They started hollering to the firefighters, drew the firefighters' attention. Our worry at the time was that he might fall out.
Oh my God, oh no, don't jump.
We raised a hand ladder from the outside of the building. One of our firefighters went up the ladder to the outside and kept the dog calm.
He's scared to death.
We turned around and we pushed him back basically in the apartment, and our staff took him down from the inside, down the ladder truck to the outside in safety. He wasn't injured, he wasn't burned. You know, he had a few little marks on him, I suppose. To see that much fire involved at once, it was a serious moment for sure. We see the sadness, we see the fire, we see the accidents, we see the medical calls all the time. It's nice to have a good win for a change. We felt warm and fuzzy basically after all was said and done.
And it keeps getting better. The initial call apparently suggested there might be 5 people inside that burning building. There were none. No injuries, no casualties, a saved dog, and 35 firefighters responded to that call. From all of us on The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Ian Hannamansing in Vancouver. You can join me on CBC News Network weeknights at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. See you then.